Hi, happy 50th wedding anniversary celebration, Bob and Barb, and best wishes for the next 50 years. Okay, January 1964. I was 17 years old. The Beach Boys had been popular for a couple of years. The Beatles were just coming on the scene. The Vietnam War was just starting to heat up. Later that year, Lyndon Johnson beat Barry Goldwater. And I looked this one up. The average price that year for a gallon of gasoline was 25 cents. But first and foremost, and most importantly, Bob Boyer and Barbara Effenberger got married. I was there. I was your best man. Today, Vietnam is a tourist destination. The Beach Boys and Bob and Barb remain. Not the same, but I think just as good as ever. So, the memory that I would like to share around your wedding is about my Midwest odyssey en route to your wedding. Since it's my memory, I'm sorry, but it's going to be about me. In 1964, the airline was North Central, and the airplane was a DC-3, a two-engine propeller-driven airliner. Mom and Pop and I traveled together to Milwaukee 2 days before your wedding day. We planned to spend the night in Milwaukee, I think at your apartment, Bob, there, and then continue on by plane the next day from Milwaukee to Green Bay, a distance of just a little more than 100 miles. The next day, storm set in. So Mom didn't like to fly anyway, so she decided to opt for the train. But Pop and I decided that we would continue on by plane, and we would get there way far in advance of Mom. We took off after dropping Mom at the train station. We took off, I think, about 11 in the morning. I'm not exactly sure. But in any event, by the time that we had reached Green Bay, the storm had intensified. We were on our final approach, and I remember that just as we came down out of the clouds and I could see houses and trees, the pilot aborted and went around. He said that by the time that he got a visual on the runway, we were offline and he couldn't land. So we went around, and I think we tried at least 2 more times to land in Green Bay, but were never able to. We then turned west and went and tried Wausau, which we couldn't land. We tried Eau Claire, where also we couldn't land. Finally wound up in Minneapolis. And ironically, at that point, we were just about exactly 2.5 times farther away from Green Bay than we had been when we started out that morning from Milwaukee. Well, by that time, also the storm finally was abating, and we were able to take off again and head back towards Green Bay. But unfortunately, either the flight crew's time was running out or the airports were closing down. But in any event, we were only able to get as far as Wausau before we had to land finally for the night. Fortunately, we were able to rent a car, which we shared with another intrepid traveler who was also keen to get to Green Bay that night. And I do remember that some of the conversation in that car revolved around people who had broken down in the middle of the winter, in the middle of Green Bay, in the middle of the night, and froze to death. Anyway, we finally arrived at the rehearsal dinner about 11 p.m., way after Mom. And ironically, Mom had run into Tom Boyer on the train. So they both got there way far in advance of us. So that became a sort of a favorite story for a while. And actually, I still tell the story to people to illustrate the perils of traveling around in the Midwest in the middle of winter. But the rest is, as they say, history. And I think it's been a happy and a good and a fruitful one. And again, congratulations and the very, very best and most blessed wishes for you in the years to come. Happy 50th anniversary. Love you. Bye.